Ready?
I had so much I wanted to say just then. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, I ain't
saying nothing.
What do you want to say?
Nothing.
What do you want to say?
Not a thing.
Tell me.
Restrained with self-control.
Tell me.
Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Welcome to...
All right.
You're going to watch Family Violence here in a second.
Are you ready?
I'm waiting on you.
Okay. If you don't wake up...
I'm awake, man. Come on. It's early in the morning. I got to go.
Where are you going?
Coming to you from 125 Carver in Waco, Texas, it's the Riverside Weekly. We hope your time with us today is thought-provoking, spiritually challenging, and a life-changing experience. Our discussions are fun, real, and at times very uncomfortable. We highly encourage all of our guests and listeners to like and subscribe, and please ring the bell. Now, here are your hosts, Pastor Cello and Pastor Mia.
My clothes are at my mom's. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. It's Wednesday. One more time. Yay! We have a hype button. We no longer need to do that. Hype. Get it, hype. Thank you, Wesley. Wes Abrams told me where to get it, and now we don't have to do it anymore. Love it. Just another one added. We love it. We love it. We love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Love it. It's so awesome.
Thank you so much for all our sponsors, Hype Button and Noise Box.
Sound machine. Sound machine.
Noise Box Sound.
Yes, thank you to Wesley and Amy, Wes and Amy, for granting us these toys because they were thebomb.com. All right. Anyway, welcome. Welcome to the podcast. It's Wednesday. It is freezing. It is not snowing, and it is not -1 to all you people out there in Kansas who have the snow, and they're at 20 degrees. Listen, 30 degrees, Texans are freezing, okay? You guys are out there just going to work like nothing, like the UPS man on my story, remember, the other day? Guys, there was a standoff, 2 houses down from us, and they didn't block the perimeter, they didn't do anything, but they had snipers, they had dogs, they had drones, they had choppers, they had chopper.
They didn't have no choppers.
I know, but it was cute. It just made me think of that. You remember? Okay. And then, remember? It's a chopper. But then they had the negotiation van, and they had all these things, and they didn't block the street off. And here comes the UPS man. So I did a video of him, and he's just walking down the street like nothing.
Very, very poor planning on their part.
Yes, and this guy is delivering packages while the sniper is in the roof of the house across the street, and he's just like...
Everybody's hiding behind their cars.
Yeah.
With their guns, and he's like walking down.
I'm gonna deliver my packages.
Yep.
Because he's hype. Love it. Love the button. Yay. Round of applause to that one. Anyway, can you tell I'm hype? That is a hype button, y'all.
Trying to figure out how to turn this thing on.
No, you can't. You can't. Woo! Sorry,
This
I'm hyped.
episode's called the hype episode.
I am so hyped. That button did it all, y'all. I am just like, yeah. All right, now I'm ready to make some money. All right. All right. Anyway, we want to say we are so sorry for last week. The podcast was
was great.
Yes, it was great. The sound was trash.
Sound issues.
Trash, yeah.
We're not going to mention any names who is overall the production end of that.
Yeah,
but
we won't.
We'll just say that he wasn't on the podcast that day. We'll just say that.
Because
there was a lot of people that weren't on that podcast. So.
I know. And he was supposed to be pulling whistles and bells and turning knobs and stuff, but it didn't work like that.
I tried. I looked like the guy behind the curtain on Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah, right. Was that me? Anyway, so last week's podcast was about resting and being able to sit down and rest. And not just that, but a lot of us don't do that. So, but, you know, I think today's podcast may go in hand with that, because today's podcast, I am talking about Great Expectations. No, I'm just kidding. That's actually a book. Did you know that? Tell me.
I was forced to read that.
Tell me about it. Tell me.
I can't tell you I didn't read it.
It was Charles Dickens' 13th novel, Great Expectations, and it depicts an education of an orphan named Pip. So if you went to school, you already knew that before I said that. It's Dickens' second novel after David Copperfield. And it says, tells the story of an English orphan who rises to wealth and deserts his true friends and becomes humbled by his own arrogance. Ooh, Susan. Anyway, I was just not really talking about Great Expectations, but I want to talk about, what did I say a minute ago? What did I call it?
You said it was...
Yeah, hold on. I got it right here. Unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations. And you say, what does that mean? What does that have to do with
Your
us?
expectations of me are unrealistic. Have been for 30-something years.
Well, I mean...
Just saying.
You know, I'm gonna leave it at that. Got your own button over there? Anyway, so yes, kinda, sorta, I'm gonna talk about that too, but I wanna talk about unrealistic expectations because so many of us have them. They're like friends. How many of us have them? That's, friends. Ones you can depend on. Okay? But, unrealistic expectations you can't depend upon. That's the whole thing, is that unrealistic expectations are things that we set and we set ourselves up to fail. And we talked about that when we talked about goals, but I want to read this real quick. And it says, growing up, you probably had caregivers or teachers who encouraged optimism because they wanted you to explore the possibilities and enjoy success. Maybe they assured you it's possible to achieve anything you set your mind to. Let's just stop right there. Go ahead. That's a soapbox.
I had a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to say before you said that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I was being patient
and kind
and quiet, and like, okay, let her go. Let her do her thing there. You said something now. I can't remember what it was you said.
I said unrealistic expectations are things where we set ourselves up for failure.
Oh, yes. I don't think that we set ourselves up for failure.
Tell me.
I think we get let down by our expectations of other people.
Yes, yeah.
And so they fail us.
Right. That's what this says too.
Oh, that's not what you said.
No, I hadn't gotten there because you wanted to,
Thank you so much. Continue reading.
As an adult, though, you've likely encountered the harsh truth that you can't always achieve your dreams through sheer willpower. And I thought you were going to talk about how the schools always say, you can be all you want to be. And Barbie.
Oh, I have a lot to say.
Okay. It says, experts generally consider optimism a beneficial trait. It can improve your ability to cope with stressful situations and manage physical and emotional distress. But it's important to recognize that optimism doesn't guarantee a positive outcome. You can't control every situation in your life. When your expectations for yourself or anyone else fall in areas outside your control, you probably end up facing some disappointment.
So, clean your room.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, you can't control anything, but you can clean your room.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a good sermon. That was one of his sermons.
Well, we talked about it a couple of while back. I don't know what episode on. We're like 50 million episodes. But I think it goes back to what I was saying. Is like we mentally and emotionally create expectations of other people.
Put them on pedestals.
And well, not even necessarily pedestals, but I mean just like you expect me to clean my side of the bed. Like my side of the room, you expect me to clean it. And I don't. And it frustrates you because of your expectations of a clean bed on my side. However, your expectations of me cleaning my side of the bed totally have nothing to do with all the cups on your side of the bed.
Hey, let's not throw any stones there.
No, but I'm using that as an example, not stone throwing as an example. And that's how we live in life. We expect everyone to do what we're unwilling to do.
Yes, correct.
And then we get upset with them because they don't meet our expectations, but we don't even meet our own expectations.
Exactly. This is why most of us just go, I don't want to do it because I'm going to fail. So I just don't want to do it.
that's motivation. That's attitude problems. It's more attitude problem than anything. It's because I believe in failure. I believe that you need to fail a whole bunch.
Well,
because if you don't fail a lot, then you'll never succeed.
Oh, we know Formula 409.
Yes, So I think when we come into situations, when we come into relationships, when we come into new jobs, when we come into church situations, when we come into all sorts of business opportunities, man, you name it, the list goes on and on. But I think when we come in with the expectations, with the great expectations of success or the great expectations of whatever that looks like, or what we're wanting to happen or in our mind, like we're hoping But very rarely do other people meet those expectations for us. Most of the time, those expectations are very, very unrealistic.
Yeah, because we set them way up here and not here. That's what I was saying about goals at the beginning of the year. So lower your
expectations and have greater success. For me, I got up this morning and did a podcast.
Yeah.
Score.
Wait, here we go.
Wrong button. But I think it goes back to our attitudes, right? Like, I always talk about I don't have a problem failing and I look forward to failure. It's not that I look forward to failure in the sense of like failing, because I expect to fail in almost every area or every endeavor or every challenge or every project.
Okay. You go in.
I go in with the mindset that this is probably not going to work. However, I'm going to do everything that I can mentally, emotionally, physically, intellectually, spiritually to do my best.
Mm-hmm. I love that Elliot says that. You did your best, Grandma.
Yeah,
you did your best.
If you go in, and I think that's the tension. We tell people that we did our best, knowing that we didn't. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so when people set those expectations, we expect people to always do their best. But most of the time we live in a society, and our culture is we do the minimum for the maximum reward. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And those are the wrong expectations. We should do the very, very most, expecting the very little, the very least. And I think we're in a society where we want to show up and we get credit for showing up on time to work. And that's not how it works. You show up to work on time because you're supposed to show up to work on time. That's character. Now, when you get there, you should work for all $14, $15 that you're making an hour. But most of us only work for $8 of that $15. Because we expect to get paid $15 for $8 worth of work. Just saying.
Y'all, I did not mean for him to go there. I had
you opened the can.
I know. I was like...
But we're talking about work, though. So...
Sorry, P38 you.
What do you call it?
What?
We're talking about work, so now you can delve into your work.
Okay, so the reason...
Nice segue.
Yeah, it was.
But you messed it up.
The reason we're here and talking about great expectations or expectations is unrealistic expectations is because I was doing a job and as a merchandiser, mobile merchandiser, refilling, that type of thing. And the expectations are unrealistic. They want you to go in and do a 4-hour job in a 1-hour time and yet make it look good, make it do right, and all of that. And I'm like, that is unrealistic. There is no way that job can be done beautifully or well or even great or even good at a quarter of the time or an eighth of the time that you're trying to make me do it. And it needs to be done in 4 hours. What?
Oh, I'll just... If you haven't seen our service from Sunday,
okay,
talking about unrealistic expectations, I think the way you're describing the job is the same way that pastors and leaders
describe the church.
No, I think that's a good description or example of the church. Pastors and leaders expect more from leaders and congregation within the church that are unrealistic. We expect things from members. We expect things from leaders. We expect things from individuals within the church that are really unrealistic.
As examples?
Well, going back to your job, like they're wanting you to do 4 hours worth of work
in an hour and a half.
An hour and a half time. But if you think about that 4 hours,
You've said this before about our kids.
yeah. So when you think about us as individuals, we have 24 hours in the day. If you work full time, you have 8 hours that you burn up,
And 8 hours of that is sleeping.
Sleep, so you 16 hours, right? So now you only got 8 hours, and the church is expecting you. Church leaders are expecting you to give 3 to 4 hours of that time, at least 2 or 3 times a week, not outside of your church service going to attending church on a Sunday or Wednesday. So if you add that on a Wednesday, so now that's another 3 hours.
So when do you eat, shower,
That's what I'm saying.
hang out with your family and your wife?
And that's what I'm saying. So I think employers have unrealistic expectations of their employees, and I think churches have unrealistic or pastors and church leadership have unrealistic expectations of their congregation. And I think they're almost one and the same in the sense that we want the most that I need all the wool that you can provide, even if it costs you your life. And literally, that's what's happening in the workforce, right? You come in, you work, and you're going.
And they shear you because you're a sheep.
You're
They
grinding the whole time,
and they want to shear you tomorrow, even though they sheared you today.
Exactly.
And you're already naked, so
you didn't have time to recover the wool, right? So, and that's what I'm saying is
we need more wool.
Yeah, and I think our society's built on unrealistic expectations.
Yes.
Now, I think there's the other side of it also where you need to have some good expectations. You'd have expectations. There's some expectations.
Well, hope comes out of expectations. So yes.
So there are some things that you should expect. In relationships, in your jobs. Like if you get a job, I expect you to show up on time and do your best. I expect you to do your job. Now, to do 4 hours work inside of an hour, that's unrealistic.
It really is.
Right? And what happens is what we do is because those unrealistic expectations are put on us, we accept them and we hold on to them and we live our life by what somebody else expects of us, even though it's unrealistic.
Or you say, take this job and shove it. Sorry.
Most people don't do that today, right?
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yes.
They don't.
That's why there are not enough workers out there because everybody's chunking the deuce and saying, peace out.
No, but I don't think that's what it is. I don't think that it's, I don't think it's that aspect. I think it's, with COVID, I think that people got some freedom and understood they don't have to have that unrealistic expectations. They don't have to deal. They don't have to deal with that. So they're like, well, I don't have to go back to work because I'm making more money doing what I want to do.
Gig economy.
That's literally what we live in, a gig economy. And so we do gigs to make the money that we need to live and survive, but yet we still have the freedom to live the way we want to. And I think that's what's messed up a lot of the market and the jobs. They're shorthanded. Well, I think people have realized that
the chains have been cut.
Yeah, the expectation of working an 8 to 5 job or working 40 hours a week is a little bit different. But I think there are still some people that are in that mindset that they're expected to do some things, and so that's what they do, and they get stuck in that rut or they get stuck in that business as usual, and they're meeting somebody else's expectations because they have not decided what they expect from themselves. Does that make sense? So if you expect some things in yourself, like we have dreams and goals and all these things that we do, but we really never expect to achieve them because we never really plan to achieve those. And so they're unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, and that's what this said. Dreaming too big, 12 tips for understanding and reframing unrealistic expectations.
And unrealistic dreams. Like, how are you going to do that? I want to be a millionaire. Well, you don't even get up to go to work on time, bro. Like, your expectations are completely wrong, right? How about let's just get a job and a steady paycheck, And I think that's, just because somebody mad at me.
Okay.
I think the same thing happens on the other side of the fence, if you will, or the other side of the pulpit, where I mentioned the pastors and leadership have unrealistic expectations on the congregation. But I think a lot of times congregations and leaders have unrealistic expectations on church leaders and pastors.
I agree.
And I think that...
what did somebody say? The church is supposed to take care of me.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's some truth to that.
There is,
but there's unrealistic expectations on what that looks like.
Yes.
And so I think that's that's kind of the tension and the double-edged sword of that is we want things our way because of our expectations, but we're not willing to meet the expectations for ourselves or somebody else. And I think that's where the tension lies, or the struggle lies. And so because of that, we just lay in bed and scroll through our social media. Just saying.
I did see something that was like that.
And I have an expectation to be done in about 15 minutes, so you better hurry up.
I don't know. I just felt like again, we set ourselves up for failure by putting people on pedestals and expecting things that are unrealistic. And I don't know.
I
give up.
I think we need to have I think we need to have expectations, but I think we need to lower the bar for what we expect from other people. Like, what is your minimum requirement that you expect from an individual?
Okay, that's good.
For me, it's attitude.
Yeah.
I can handle almost anything if your attitude is right.
that.
If you have good attitude, we're going to have.
I'll take that.
I don't care how many times you fail. I don't care. If your attitude is good, I'm good. If your attitude stinks, I don't care how successful you are, how good you're doing it. I'm like, bro, your attitude sucks. My expectations are very, very minimal. Like, just have a good attitude, do what you say you're going to do. I'm good. You get outside those lines, you start coloring a little bit outside those lines, I'm like, well, you got a problem now. I got to take the coloring sheet away from you.
Okay, Juana. Anyway, I don't know. I felt like, they did expect too much. I mean, too much in a short amount of time that
Absolutely.
They gave me. But now that you're saying that response, I'm like, okay, they did give me a priority list that said these things need to be in this priority order. So I got number 1 done.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Like,
and I was like,
but see, so it's a whole different podcast, or podcast topic, I think. But those expectations are skewed and they're warped because we lack communication.
I communicate real well. I do. I'll let them know. You said, how many days am I supposed to? You asked me how many days you'd like for me to work. I told you, and you worked me twice that. Now what? Just saying.
Thank you so much for tuning in this evening.
And then I'm gonna let them have it when I say you had me to do a 4-hour job and you gave me an hour. That's unrealistic expectations.
That's what I'm saying. But we have to. I think we have to really evaluate, like, what do we expect from ourselves, and what do we expect from others. For me, I try to set my expectations for myself and in the medium bar range. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Like, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I love when folks decline things based off their preference, and they're like, I'm not going to drink that, or I'm not going to eat that. And it's not because they don't appreciate somebody offering, but their expectations are greater. Example, we'll finish with this.
Okay, give me an example.
We were at a restaurant, and they said, I said, I'd like a Big Red. And the waitress responds, we don't have Big Red, but we had Red Flash. And I was like, no, I'm good. And she says, it's the same thing. And I said, do you like Dr. Pepper? And she says, yes. I said, so then if I offered you a Dr. B, which one would you want? She goes, well, Dr. Pepper. I said, because they're not the same thing.
And she said,
and I was like, exactly, right? So if you have some expectations of what you're wanting and you know what those are, then it's easier to achieve your goals, your dreams. It's easier to achieve happiness, I would say, or I think the attitude, because if you're the least that you can expect from the people that you're working with, your relationships, financially, all these different business wise, if you can go in there honestly and openly looking like, hey, like, let's look at this, like, what this is.
I don't know. You got something else to say?
No, that was it.
I
have all these other thoughts that I'm trying not to.
You're trying to.
I'll be here for 2 hours talking, so I need to be quiet.
I will say that I am working on my communication skills without wanting to flip tables, because I don't like unrealistic expectations of people. I know, I'm calling the kettle black. I understand that. I used to
almost
do
got
that.
up and walked off.
I used to be that way.
Used to?
Yes.
You're less.
I am less. My room is dirty. His side is clean. He does a lot of things that I used to demand, and now he's doing them, and I don't want to do them.
I ain't even tripping.
That's what I'm saying. But back then I was like, these kids need to not have one speck of dirt. And I've cleaned this entire house and no one should move. They should all sit like soldiers, right? You know? And anytime he would try to help me, I'd be like, and then go back and do it. And he'd be like, I cleaned it. Okay, but you didn't clean it to my expectations.
Exactly. So that's why I stopped cleaning.
Yeah, I know you did.
So I stopped washing clothes,
Yes, I
stopped
know.
washing dishes.
I know.
There's so much I stopped. I used to be a really devoted helper around the house.
But you are again, because I'm not doing anything, my love.
Me either. I'm doing very minimal. My expectations of what I do household, way down here. If I get up in the morning and I put my dirty clothes in the hamper or with the dirty clothes piles, game on, bro. We're good.
2 thumbs up.
Right? If I don't leave my underwear and my towel and my socks in the restroom after a shower,
Woo!
game on, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. He still has unrealistic expectations, though. Even though I had them first, now he has them. You weren't going to go upstairs and get my phone? You weren't going to get my plate?
I was joking. It was funny.
What are you doing? You know, I don't know. It's pretty funny. But
funny.
anyway, I just thought we'd talk about that because, and then the fight started in your house because you're like, you have unrealistic expectations of what you want me to do, you know. And
communicate your expectations. That's all I can say. What do you expect?
But at the same time, don't let them be unrealistic. Come on now. You want me to put the toilet seat lid down?
That's way too much.
See what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Why can't you just leave it up for me?
Exactly.
Just
now
saying.
That's renewing your mind right there. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. I hope you got something out of this. Please go change your unrealistic expectations to some realistic ones. Like at least just put your clothes in the hamper or just wipe the seat. Who cares if it's up or down? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't know what your expectations are. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. We love you, and I hope they can hear this one today. Peace out, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Riverside Weekly. Download the Riverside Waco app to stay connected and follow us on all social media sites at the Riverside Waco. This podcast is made possible by the givers of Riverside Community Church. Production and engineering provided by Capital G and RTV in Waco, Texas.